प्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, the mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become efficient, powerful. All is verily the one without second, blissful, conscious existence itself known as Brahman. May I never deny the truth of Brahman. May the Brahman never reject me either. All the virtues needed for experiencing Brahman in our life, be those with me. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us try to feel the truth of one without second, all pervading Brahman by transcending our false identities connected with body and mind. Actually, they are like clothings, just as we can change the clothings, put them on, remove them. We are not actually the clothings. So let us remove the body and put it for later use. Since I am not the body nor the mind, I can remove them with a conscious exercise. As I remove that, I see I have no birth, no death. They were the qualities of the body, just my, just as my red attire does not make me red, so also the qualities of body, they really don't affect me. I have no age, no gender, no sexual orientation. They were all the properties of body. I am feeling now the oneness of existence removed from the body. I have no location in space. It is the body that is located. I am all pervading. I also take off the inner clothing of mind. For that also is not I. I am not the emotions or feelings or thoughts. I can have them, but I do not become them. I am free from the bondage of time, space, causation. I have no desires and thus no suffering. I am the bliss itself. I am peace itself. I am the Brahman. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin today's discussion on this very important scripture with our usual prayers. That actually that prayer is the very first verse of this book, Srimad Bhagavatam. So please try to recite as loudly as you can. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratashchartheshvabhijnaswarat tene brahmhridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. That from whom the creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsists, just as the combination of materials like fire, water and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. So this is the whole purpose of this big treatise, meditation on the truth, so that we can experience the truth absolute. We had discussed a few times as to what is the relative truth and what is the absolute truth. The relative truth is the conditioned manifestation of the absolute truth. It is like what appears to our senses and mind. That conditioning is put on the absolute, and thus we see the truth that is relative or can be expressed or understood through our senses and mind. Through that what goes, that's it. So it is, that is the relative truth. But this, all the relative truths are manifestations of absolute truth. That is, the truth to me may not be the truth to somebody else. Usually it is not. That is why we have difference of opinions. I think this is right, somebody says that is right. It is, even within human beings, if there are so many differences about the what is the truth, then imagine what about the world view of an ant would be very different. Imagine the world view of a whale, big whale inside the water. See, it is how different will that view be? Imagine the view of somebody, some other creature on some remote planet. How different the world view will be there. So they are all relative truths. But the urge for everybody, especially the human beings, is to experience the absolute truth. A human being is looking for the ultimate absolute reality, and it is there alone one can find the full satisfaction and the bliss that we are seeking. It is in this, our relative world, the idea of happiness is always fraught with misery. And there is misery, there is happiness, they keep on alternating and depends just on how the context that we build. Like a person was feeling sad, that, oh, my footwear is not good enough. Oh, looks, yeah, it is all torn and worn out because he is seeing a very nice shoe of a person walking ahead of him. Oh, well, that misery, comparison like that. He is told, look behind, and he feels happy because the person walking behind has no footwear at all. So compared to that, I am better. So that is how the idea of misery and happiness and all that goes for us. There is the story of a Zen master that his he came to teacher and told that, oh, it is a horrible situation at home. We have a one room, house, and I am a farmer. There is a farm, and the situation is myself, my wife, and my three children. Somehow we were managing there. And now my in-laws also have come to stay there. Uh, and then our all other things stored there in one room. You can imagine. It is just a chaos. I cannot concentrate on anything. What should I do? The teacher gave advice. Oh, you have, since you are farming, you must be having some farm animals. Oh, yes, I have got 4 goats, 2 sheep, and then there are, dogs and cats. Bring them all inside that room. What are you suggesting? Do as I tell you. Bring all of them in that room and come to me after 1 week. So this fellow, now obeying the Guru, did all that. Then when he came next week, Guru asked, how is the situation now? Oh, it is absolute hell. What can I tell you? Oh, is it so? So now put all the animals outside again on the farm and tell me after 1 week. So again he comes after 1 week. How are you feeling now? Now it is so nice. so because the problem caused by having those animals inside is gone, and so the problem of in-laws staying was not feeling that terrible. So that is how our pleasures, pains, they change. But we still feel that the absolute happiness where there is no trace of suffering, and it will be infinite bliss. So, the scriptures tell us how we can find it by giving these truths of scriptures through various stories. This scripture, Bhagavatam, is from that category called Puranas, where stories are told. So the stories, they attract human mind, and thus we tend to read those things. Otherwise, philosophy, who can read that uh, pure reason by practice, that can't, or that analysis of practical reason by Kant. It is difficult for most of us to read. It is, I don't know if anybody has taken those books from the library so far. Very forbidding, So it is. Uh, but storybooks, oh, everybody reads such storybooks. So therefore, these truths are told by through stories in this book. We saw the great story of Prahlada, which contains all the material for, the story is tremendously popular in India. Right from my childhood, I had been hearing this story of Prahlada, and it has some tinge of miracle, but that makes it attractive. You keep on reading, and we say we are rationalist, we want everything factual, not just daydreaming and fantasies. But we read fantasies. We don't like reading the factual things. It is factual things, yeah, in newspaper you see them, but they the other things, movies and all that we see are about, they the fantastic things, right from the fairy tales of what is that very famous fairy tales by whom? Huh? Huh? Grimm's fairy tales, yeah. Yeah, Grimm's fairy tales, thank you. So the Grimm's fairy tales and all such things, and they lived happily ever after, and all such statements come there. Now, what it indicates is that there is an awareness that there is some place, some way of attaining to the bliss where there is no the smell of unhappy or such things, no quarrels, no wars, nothing wrong going on there. And so we dream of such a place, but there is, the scriptures say that there is no place unless you kick out the ignorance that I am this. No, you are bliss itself. And Prahlada realizes this truth, and then we saw that discussion was between Narada, the great sage, and Yudhishthira, who narrated to Yudhishthira the story of Prahlada. But since Narada was still at hand, Yudhishthira wanted to know some more helpful spiritual ideas, religious ideas. So he asked the questions about, please illumine me about the Varnas and Ashramas. These are two technical words, that it is Varnas and their dharmas. But there is also the narration on ashramas. So, Varna and ashrama, that is a social system. Now, what is a social system? And today I will be delving a little more beyond what is in this book Bhagavatam. Mhm. Because although these things come in Bhagavatam at some other place, in this there are only the details are more, elaborated, and those are really mostly outdated and to some extent completely meaningless. So I will read some of that, but mostly let us go into the very principle of how this varna is formulated and ashrama is formulated, how they are devised. It is a social structure. There are ways of creating a social structure. Some places it is created on the basis of somebody's abilities to churn out money. The structure based on uh, money and such material wealth. So this strata of society is like that. The wealthy, middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, and when upper middle class or top class, you build it according to what? The financial status of a person. Uh, but this Varna system is the only system that I know that is based on the inner human urge for perfection. And everybody needs to be guided to that perfection. That is the whole arrangement and classification of society is done on that basis, that four varnas, you will find them defined in right from the Vedas, like Purusha Suktam describes these four varnas. Now the number is not, it is in a way an arbitrary. You can have subdivisions and further subdivisions, but the principle is narrated there. In Bhagavad Gita, you find a very detailed description of this Varnas in 17th, 18th chapters, that about how they come into existence. So, because Lord has said in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashah, that I have created, and these are the words of Lord Krishna, remember. I have created this system of four varnas, four types of these human beings. And on the basis of what? Now you divide that as collection, make the groups within, depending on several this thing criteria, like you can divide it on the basis of simple, how tall a person is. So accordingly you may, yeah, below 4 feet, then between 4 and 5, and then like that you divide more than 7. That would be exceptional, that it is more. But you can divide on the basis of height. Mm. Then you can divide on the basis of weight. Uh, you can divide them on the basis of age. So many types you can divide in various ways. But this division is made on guna karma, and this guna means the we had discussed that many times before, the sattva, rajas, tamas, these three gunas, as it were three colors. These are the three types of characteristics, you can say, who combine differently in different individuals. And the characteristic of each individual is decided as to how these three colors, varna actually, the literary meaning would be the color. So, Gaura Varna, Krishna Varna, Harita Varna, these are Sanskrit words, means like the fair complexion or the dark complexion or green color, green complexion, whatever, So, this is Varna basically means color. And just as the artists know this, those painters, that if you have three colors, then through the combination of these, every color, all colors, every shade can be manufactured by properly combining the three colors. So, thus these are the three colors, three gunas. There is one sattvika, that it corresponds to tendency. So there is this sattva quality, that it is. And one thing that needs to be noted, it is not to be translated as caste by birth, as done by many Western translators. It is this because of that wrong translation, tremendous confusion occurs. It is the Varna does not mean caste. Caste, or in what gets called in Sanskrit or other vernacular in India, is jati, jat. Jati depends on birth. The very meaning of the word jat means birth. But Varna does not depend on birth. So the Varna depends on that how the preponderance of gunas, the sattva is the indicative of the desire for calmness, desire for knowledge, the that feeling, certain virtues are automatically felt. There is the higher that desires in life, and not uh, stuck with the material enjoyments. That is sattva guna, that a person is therefore calm. The senses are controlled. The desire is for the higher knowledge. That is the sattva. Not much, because one doesn't find then the enjoyment in the sense pleasures. So that is the sattva guna. And so on the basis of this rajoguna is the uh, where the person has lot of these desires for sense pleasures, and they make that person active. That pushes for activity. So you become very active, running about, that is the Kshatriya. Then Vaishya temperament is there, where there is the this tamas is more predominant, and Shudra, there is Vaishya and Shudra, there is a difference, that tamas is not the exact characteristic of Vaishya. Rajas is the characteristic, but tempered with this tamas. And Shudra has the characteristic of tamas, tempered by a little rajas. So that is how they are classed. We shall get into that discussion a little more soon. The first three are called Dvija, twice born. At the end of today's class, we shall see why that is called like that. Their character can be modeled to manifest the divine more and more. That is, they are therefore called twice born. It is now the first class. Brahmana has preponderance. This is Brahmana, not Brahman. Brahmana, the connection with Brahman is he has the desire, aptitude, capability of realizing the Brahman in life. So has preponderance of sattva. So the desire for sensual pleasure is less prominent there. The desire for knowledge is the defining character. Wants to know, wants to learn, and thus the choice of lifestyle follows accordingly. Since that is the main desire, that knowledge. So, and if you see in every kind of knowledge, scientific knowledge, there is the transcendence. Mm. Like when you make, say, a law, what you do, the peculiarities of every experience, they are removed and the general principle is arrived at. The famous example is the law of gravitation. All laws are like that, but since everybody knows about law of gravitation, let us take that. That Newton supposedly, anecdotally saw an apple falling down. Now, is it the quality only of that particular apple? No, all things they fall down. So the appleness is not important. You transcend the apple. It is all the things they fall down. Not only that, there is the cosmic idea that all the planets and stars, they also have that same thing going on, that attraction to something. So that is how you come to the law of gravitation. By transcending the particulars, you come to the generals. So the, the thirst for knowledge is therefore thirst for removing the distinguishing characteristics and come to the unified principle. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, this the jnana or the knowledge of sattvika is described, that that knowledge by which sarvabhuteshu yenaikam, that bhavamavyayamikshate, that knowledge by which you discover the one appearing as many, the one immutable avyayam, one immutable principle in all varieties. So, this person automatically, because of the urge for knowledge, has that transcendental mental get-up. They are calm, intelligent, truthful, and non-covetous by nature. Very simple lifestyle, because they are not interested, in having too many unnecessary things. Why should I have that add burden on me? And not worried about what people will speak about them. Let them. So it is. Many times I have this, question asked, that if we become religious, what will my relatives, my other people, what will they speak about me? So I give reply stage by stage that uh, do they not speak about you otherwise? They do that even if you are not leading a religious life. That is the nature of people. That they talk behind the backs of others about them, and so don't worry. Even now they must be doing about you whether you are religious or not. So that is not a concern at all. Secondly, it is your duty, your responsibility to see what is beneficial for you and do it. Why worry about what others will say? And you are not slave to others. Why should you pander for their, consent and their opinion? No, if something is right, something is beneficial, something is right, then go ahead. Don't worry what people are going to say about it. And of course, this requires courage. So, therefore, a Brahmin has that kind of courage too. So, uh, they are not covetous. They are not going to, have things just because somebody else has. That is a funny thing, that you see that somebody has something, I also want it. Yeah, it is. What are you going to do with it? Is it really necessary for you? No, no, but I saw my neighbor has it, so I must have it. It is. That idea really is very creating lot of problems for us. So it is their natural works, therefore, for them is learning and teaching. Religious rituals are there, these learning, teaching, religious rituals are their natural vocations. And so, Brahmins are just to keep their Brahminness alive, are restricted and not to take up any vocation just for money. They are asked not to do anything like for earning money. No, don't set up trades or for these businesses. Just to get whatever you can by this and uh, feel free. So it is. Then there is the Kshatriya. There is preponderance of rajas leaning towards sattva. There is some sattva, but it is that just leaning. The preponderance is that of rajas. In Brahmins, the preponderance is that of sattva. Here, the preponderance is of rajas, means that brings out the desires and desire propelled activities, all sense pleasures. I want this, I want to enjoy this. It is, and since that thirst is never ending, the activity never ends. Always have to do something, forced to do something, because the desires keep on popping up. So you must do something that, oh, okay, let us go and visit Argentina, let us go and visit Brazil, let us go to China. So many because you feel that here it is not so satisfactory. Let me go to other place, that would be fine. Let us go to cruise trip and so forth. So the desires, they keep on boiling up, and thus activity. One may not have really enough time, very much, crunched for time, lot of work needs to be done, but the desire comes. And then all works are kind of pushed aside. No, no, I want to do this. Yeah, I want to go and see the some World Cup soccer. So it is all other things are pushed aside. No time really for that person, but has to do it. So this is how this person's life becomes that and suffers, due to sattva leaning, they are generous and respectful to Brahmanas, but are not eager to acquire their qualities. Because that is, not for us. Immediately they draw the line. No, no, no. We are not saintly people. We respect saints, but we won't become like that because that will hurt our enjoyments. So that is how their life is kshatriyas, and their natural vocation and preferences are governing, fighting in battles, arranging pompous celebrations, etc., etc. Big. Let us build a big temple. With all that, not that there is lot of devotion, but a matter of show. So temple, big or small, its greatness is if you are practicing devotions there. Otherwise, they tend to become just big tourist places. It is a lot of show, and you go for that. They become very famous, and they earn a lot of name, fame thereby. So, big show, that is the characteristic of a Rajasic person, a Kshatriya. Put up big shows. And so, it is in Bhagavad Gita, it is described that how this rajas activity goes on. So, it is now Vaishya, where there is the preponderance of rajas. Here they are same as Kshatriyas, preponderance of rajas, but leaning not towards sattva but towards tamas. Tamas means that is ignorance, darkness, that is called tamas. The one literal etymological meaning of this word tamas is darkness. So the dark means ignorance. They not much desire to have knowledge. It is they have also desire for sense pleasures, but less activity to run after them due to leaning towards tamas. This is the big difference. Not that they don't have desires for pleasures, but I am feeling tired. It is, yeah. Oh, that the laziness is far more than the desire to enjoy also. Yeah, going for the World Cup soccer, I also would have liked, but there is no that idea of working hard for that, because running after sense pleasures is hard work. So it is, they are loath to do that hard work because of this tamas. It is tamas brings inertia. So this is uh, due to subdued sattva, they have no urge for knowledge, truthfulness, disciplines of higher life. They don't care for that. Their choice of vocation are agriculture. Vaishya community, there Vaishya means not referring to the particular caste as such, but those who have this kind of aptitude due to the preponderance of rajas leaning to tamas. Remember this, they do great works, but the agriculture, businesses, trading, banking, uh, and for that they can go to any place. They won't go. Come on, let us enjoy, go, let us go for the cruise trip. No, that is not the idea. Can we make some business on cruise? Then they will go. Okay, yeah. That is, the whole this tendency is glued to that. It is they money, their pleasure lies in monetizing things. So, what will we do with the money is not a question at all. It is the having money is the happiness, you know. So that is the tamasic attitude. The great advantage society receives from it, that because they go to all countries, different places, and thus the knowledge spreads. The spread of knowledge happens in that. The globalization is brought about by these people. Mm. That is their contribution to human society. That others will not go for that. Oh, why I get enjoyment here? Why should I go there for it? Not necessary. And even if I go, I will come back. It is. But these Vaishyas, you will see so many such communities go and settle from one country into another country. And they don't have qualms about that, that my land, this idea of my nation, no affiliation with that. Because wherever they can go, follow their customs and so forth, you know. So, because this is the main point there. Then there is this Shudra, preponderance of tamas. This group has preponderance of tamas with leaning towards rajas. The Vaishyas were preponderance of rajas leaning towards tamas. Here preponderance of tamas. See the difference. Tamas is means the inertia and ignorance, they have the upper hand, and some actions they can do. So some leaning towards rajas, that makes them inertiatic, springing to activity only when externally forced. That is the Newton's law of inertia, you know, that unless forced from outside, no body can change its state either of uh, being stable or having a constant velocity. It will remain doing that unless some external force acts. That is not going to change. So these people, they are of that type. They don't want to work. It is unless forced, you know. If forced, then only they work. It is the story of that who is the laziest person. So somebody showed that that man on the tree top, you know, is the laziest person. No, no, he had taken the trouble of climbing the tree. No, no, actually the tree grew under him, you know. So lazy. So it is, did not want to even get from the tree out. So the laziness is of that type there, that unless you pressurize, don't work. It is that is the mentality there. That so they can work very well. They have no initiative, no higher goals, no desire for knowledge, but they can work very well if put to work because of leading towards rajas. The natural vocation for them is to serve someone from the three higher varnas, because otherwise they will not work at all. Unless pressurized to work, they will just be like that. And so, therefore, they work when uh, external pressure is put on them. It is many of us have this tendency that unless pressurized, like when the students study, uh, what you are all teachers, professors, when do they study? Uh, uh, Exam pressure, external pressure is there. Otherwise, Ashutosh will, I'll see it later. But when it comes, the pressurized from outside, then, I have to study. Actually, for that the exams are. It is because at least for that sake, these people will study. Otherwise, they won't study at all. Uh, does it make sense, Ishani? Yeah, it is, yeah. That they study when there is pressure. Therefore, they have deadlines and all that. So, this is the deadline approaches, they will then make day, night, nothing matters. So, constantly studying. So this is at that attitude, Shudra attitude that we all have. All these varnas are to some extent present in every one of us. It is, but this is only the question of the prominent one. So this is how each of them is. They for all of them are divine. Everything is divine. Everyone is having that divine potential. God is in everything. There is nothing which is devoid of God. We have seen that all the time. So, nothing, nobody should be condemned or denigrated. Everybody is divine. It is only classification to provide the proper lifestyle that will help them to move forward. Everybody will achieve the highest knowledge one day. Mm. But they have to follow their own characteristic path for that purpose. This whole system is so beautifully planned that by doing the following the lifestyle according to their temperament, their peculiar combination of this sattva rajas tamas, when they follow they evolve. It is not question of higher or lower. It is whatever is suitable for me, I must take that up, and that suitable depends on what my psychophysical temperament tendencies are. It is not question of imitation. It is like the dog wants to go to some place, a bird wants to go to that same place. The bird will go flying, and the dog cannot fly, has to go according to whatever its feet are able to take him. So it is like that. Everybody has a characteristic path, not to imitate, but to make use of the available potentials. There is absolutely no higher or lower in that. This system over the uh, say, millennia, they go on degenerating. Because those who have cultivated knowledge get power. Knowledge is power, and nobody wants to then shed away the power. And they then continues through their lineage, and that is how this the caste system comes up. It is not the Varna system, but the caste system, that a progeny of a Brahmin would be Brahmin, a progeny of a Shudra will be Shudra. No, that is not actually the case. It is the guna karma. That is how Lord characterizes it in Bhagavad Gita. Didn't say janma and karma, but guna and karma. There is no mention of janma, means birth. They are not to be no classification on the basis of your that parentage or lineage. It is only based on guna karma. So now if you follow, again Bhagavad Gita says that by following one's own characteristically helpful way of life, everybody realizes the same one truth. So it is the first three varnas, because of the preponderance of sattva and rajas, can be motivated to think of a higher goal of life. They are thus given a discipline when they are considered born again. And we mentioned this right in the beginning, and this idea is here in Bhagavatam as well. So, uh, it is why born again? This is very much like getting baptized or having that upanayana. It is for all these three varnas actually, the upanayan, this is prescribed by scriptures that they should go through this what colloquially gets called as thread ceremony. So it is that is to show that up till now it was you were as born from the mother's womb, everybody is born as animal. But now from that animal you get a second birth, as it were, a human being. Think, and what it means to have higher goals. The evolution at the human level is at psychological and spiritual level. And this is an opinion, well studied opinion by Julian Huxley, a very well known biologist. He says that at human level, the physical evolution kind of ends. You don't see much physical evolution amongst human beings. But there is this psychological evolution, spiritual evolution, and then because of that, human beings set the goals that other animals do not. I say that many times, that see how human civilization goes stage by stage, it moves forward. That doesn't happen with other creatures, and they remain the same. Human beings, look at that caveman, look at those farming through bullocks, and then they how they other these horses and all. That civilization uh, gives way. It keeps on improving. You see the castles being built. Eh, Then you see the all modern cities, all the computer work, all the AI and whatnot. It is, and this meditation to go to the highest goal. This is a human speciality. Everything gets changed accordingly. This is, therefore, I told this many times, you won't find a single natural thing in this hall. Everything, you see, is preceded by thousands of years of research and technology. So this is human being. So let us conclude with the closing chant, and then afterwards, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. निगमकल्पतरुर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुर्हो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. O devotees, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any questions? Yes, Tilakji?
So, Swamiji, for a person who's born into a certain varna, then the entire lineage is a matter of birth, and they can never get out
That
of that.
is called jati. That is not what is discussed here. That is the jati, means what follows as, but that doesn't determine whether a person is actually Brahmin or not. And therefore somebody born of Brahmin parents uh, could just become a very terrible dullard, and could have just a criminal tendencies and so forth. That doesn't this, because this idea is not based on birth at all. It is based on qualities. The question comes when how to find the qualities of a person. Then people take the shortcut. Okay, he must have imbibed some those attitudes and aptitudes from the parents, and thus the progeny also gets that label, but therefore it is not always justified. And there are many who are born as the Shudras. Parents are Shudras, but they had such tremendous urge for knowledge and so much this propensity to manifest the divinity. Wonderful to see. There are therefore so many saints have come amongst those who were by birth Shudras, the lower categories. Yeah. Hmm.
Pranam, Pranam Maharaj. In a household where the people have different varnas, what is the best way to support and coexist harmoniously?
Of course. It's a very good question that suppose there are, say, 7, 8, or in the olden joint family system, 20 would be staying under the same roof, and each of those 20 will be having very different propensities, different characteristics, different combinations of sattva, rajas, tamas. How to then deal with it? That will be dealt according to their temperaments. They will go. The house should provide uh, limited scope for that. Means what? They should not hurt the tendencies of the other. Hmm. That is the principle of individual freedom, that you have the freedom to move your fist, but your freedom to move the fist is stopped where my nose begins, Beyond that, it should not go. So, one must recognize that people will have different tendencies. And so therefore it is required, while the parents should uh, put the ideals before them. Again, husband and wife will may have different tendencies, so they should present the best way that they can, but that doesn't mean that the children are going to take it up. And they should be satisfied about that, that well, that has been presented to them. Now they will take and do whatever is they feel best for them. Hmm? Shrikant has a question.
Namaste, Swamiji. Regarding the Jati and Varna, regarding Jati and Varna, the person's rebirth, if we take into consideration the rebirth of a person, we say that the tendencies of that person guide them to a certain family and situation such that they have a field of play, they can manifest.
Yeah.
So in that sense, somewhat the guna and Jati and Varna can be aligned to some extent. Isn't
It
it?
is not necessarily, Jati and that some connection like that can be established, but it is to be considered a very loose connection. It is like, what is selected by that soul, the family to be born, is where those tendencies in him, whatever, will find scope. That's about it. But nothing more than that. It is the scope will be found. Like it is the soil and the climate, So there will be the scope for a rose plant to grow. We have rose plants here, and also poison ivy can grow. So it is not necessary that it will be supportive to only one. Yeah. Moreover, there is other thing that the family that is found is also a mixture. They Nobody is 100% sattvika, nobody is usually 100% tamasika. So there is a mixed thing is put out there. You choose whatever is available and whatever you like, and therefore all children are not same. You see, they born of the same parents, they have completely different paths that they, even the twins, it is that identical twins, they do not have the same tendencies, very different. And this is has been, a topic for psychologists to think about, that it is how when they identify that with the body, it is not just the body, but completely different something is manifesting using the soil of this body. That's all. The physical features are like that, that they get it from the parents, but not the psychological tendencies.
So just an extension of that, you mentioned like one with a tamoguna pradhana being born in a Brahmin family, suppose.
Yeah.
It seems to be some kind of a, say, in the hierarchy, if you put it, some kind of a promotion somewhat. Even though the person is not qualified to be born in that certain situation and conditions, due to inherent tendencies of tamoguna, how did that person get a chance to be born in that kind of a family?
Oh, well, it is very much possible, because that family can give scope to that also. It is that there is the scope for sattva guna there, and also scope for tamo guna. Therefore, that is very much seen. I have seen it so much, that it is, yeah, not really restrictive. That is why the idea of uh, characterizing somebody because of birth does not hold much water. There is some possibility, that's all, yeah. Ivana has a question. Come on, Ivana.
Pranam Swamiji. So it seems that when this Varana framework was put in practice, it was pretty disastrous. And with the caste system, right, just deeply problematic. And then, as you just said, most of, I mean, if not everyone, is just a mixture of tamas and rajas and sattva, and that is a dynamic thing. It's not as fixed as these Varana framework presents it. And so is there any practical utility to that Varna framework for us today?
Well, in not as it is distorted today, but we can understand the principle behind it. As it exists today, because of tremendous various social conflicts. But the principle is this, that there are these tendencies, and a person can be classified according to these tendencies and the proper path that that person can follow. Everybody doesn't have to become a professor like Ivana, isn't it? And,
To prescribe that path. I mean, and how can anyone tell, like, this is what
No,
your
it
tendencies
is therefore it is that nobody needs to tell. That person has to understand. The teachers can tell, the guru, the teacher can tell that you follow this. That is why this same one thing is not told by guru to all disciples. There is the difference in that. Yeah. So that will identify that your tendencies is like that. And that person also, by looking at one's life and the desires, and when compared with somebody else, can identify that. Any other question? Is any question upstairs?
Yes. There is one web question from Beverly Collins.
Yes, Beverly.
The question has two parts. Is selfishness the main obstacle to absolute truth? And then what is the cause of selfishness?
Cause of selfishness.
Yes.
Selfishness is that there was this discussion on last Sunday here by that Tushar Puranik about what is the selfishness. When you are identifying yourself with a limited body, mind, and thinking only about its pleasures, its benefits, then it is selfishness. But when you expand it, because you see the drawbacks of that, and you therefore want to get over it. But it is not easy, friends. Talking comes easy, but getting rid actually of selfishness is a bit tough, that one has to really practice this discipline, that I am not this body and mind. Uh, that it is giving up one's own benefits and pleasures not easy. I had told in these classes one incident, very telling incident. I was in training center then, and we were about 80 brahmacharis there in training center, and there was a special celebration at a place, another institution of Ramakrishna Mission, and we all went there for that. Lot of people came, many of our Swamis came, and one of our senior teachers came. But this senior teacher entered a little late. When he entered, all seats were taken already, a few were standing. Then he looked around to see if any of his student gets up and gives him a seat. And for half a minute, nobody was getting up, because once you get up, you are not likely to get a seat again. So then when uh, somebody thought that no, this is not right, and got up. And then that teacher Swami said, do you really want to give me the seat? Really, you are going to make such a big sacrifice? There was a taunting tone also to it. And then next day, in the class, he said, look at the yesterday's incident, very illustrative, that I am not blaming you, just to see how talk of being unselfish is so easy, but being unselfish, even to that extent, is not so easy. So one has to really get into spiritual practice to overcome this selfishness, so that we can progress ahead and see the same self in all bodies. And what is this other part? Uh,
What is the cause of selfishness?
Ignorance is the cause of selfishness, that I am this body, I am this my mind, this is mine, and this ignorance is the only cause of selfishness. Thank you. Any other question? So let us conclude with the closing chant. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। Tomorrow, being Saturday, there will be the regular Karma Yoga from 8:30 to 10:30, and then guided meditation from 11 to 12. But then there will be the day-long meditation, being the first Saturday of the month. So just to let you know that there will be this additional program tomorrow on Saturday.